What's going on, ladies and gentlemen? Welcome back to episode 64 in our series, The Road to Glory Career Mode. I apologize, it's been a few days since I last uploaded the last episode, but this episode definitely more than makes up for it. Wait till you see the games we have in store today. There's some crackers in there, and potentially, with us winning the Champions League last season, there's a chance that we might not actually make it out of our group in this season. So, on the cusp of 3 back-to-back draws in our first 3 Champions League group stage games, we have a lot of work to do in the final 3 games. But the first one that you guys get to view today is against Arsenal. This one is in the Premier League, and as it stands, Crew currently top of the table. Arsenal are up there as well, so this one is set to be a pretty decent game by all accounts. The team that Arsenal have got as well is very, very strong. They have Werner up front. They've even got Goretzka in the midfield, so they've done a good bit of business, as you can see there. It's a game in hand, I think, for both sides as well. So depending on the result here, one of them will move up, the other one will stay where they are or move down. So we'll see how it's going to fare, though. But our side was the usual suspects, with Fratchak leading the line in place of Donis, as he has done recently. But I don't know what it was about Timo Werner. I just could not stop him in this particular game. His pace was causing me no ends of problem with Tarkowski and Konsa at the back. And honestly, I think I'm probably going to need to go out and buy like a world-class centre-back just to make sure that defensively we're okay. I've got a little bit of a problem with this goal. Mainly, number 1, Alexis Sanchez was completely unmarked. And number 2, at first I felt like it was offside. You can see the cross gets whipped in. It's put back into the area. And here, right there, I don't know who was supposed to be marking Alexis Sanchez. But the truth is, you can't allow him to have that time and space. So I was left very, very frustrated with the boys. Because again, defensively, it's another mistake that we make that allows somebody to score against us. But luckily, we weren't behind for long. Because inside the 12th minute, Fratchak would equalise the game up. Calvert-Lewin driving it across, and the number 9 easily taps home. And with that, he's having a really good start to his career here at Crew Alexandra. Definitely not really kind of worrying about that 2-star weak foot. It doesn't really seem to affect him a lot. He is actually right-footed, but can't really tell. And that, I think, comes down to the fact that he's so quick. But again, you know, I spoke about it and I said I couldn't handle Werner. Well, 3 minutes later, after we got back in the game, we were 2-1 down again. This one was right out of the top drawer. Not a lot I could do against this. It was just world class from the number 9. And, yeah, as I said, there's just not a lot you can do. Right here, I have 5 players in and around Werner, and somehow I still don't make a tackle, and he smashes that one into the top corner. And I would like to sit there and blame Green, but I can't even do that, because as I said, take a look at that effort. I don't think there'd be a goalkeeper in world football that probably would have saved it. And as we continue on again, though, after we found ourselves back losing, we had to find an equaliser, and we did it. 4 goals inside 28 first half minutes, and it ended up being Grujic who curled us back into this one. Arsenal 2, Crew Alexandra 2. Very good effort from Werner, but this one is equally as good from Grujic. I've got to be honest, the cross that I whipped in there was not meant for Grujic, but I'm glad it fell to him, and then he picked his spot and found it very nicely indeed. Not exactly happy with the defending on show today, but at least going forward, we're still able to create chances. I mean, if we'd have got beaten here, you know, if we were 2-0 down early on and not being able to get ourselves back in this game, it could have been even worse for us. And right on the stroke of half-time, can't tell you how often this happens to me, not clearing our lines, and they end up getting through and make it Arsenal 3, Crew 2, just before we go into the break. So for the 3rd time in the afternoon, we found ourselves behind. So I'm sure there might come a time where we might actually get in front at some point during this game. Into the second half we go. 5 minutes after it began, Jose Gaia getting through, Fratchak's there, and it's very similar to his first one. He just taps it home with that left foot and says, thank you very much. Arsenal 3, Crew 3. 6 goals now inside 52 minutes. This is what I'm talking about. This game was unbelievable. It was back and forth. Defending was a no-show from either side. You know, if you're looking from a defensive standpoint, it's a shocker. But from an entertainment standpoint, for the goals and everything, I was loving this game. And then, as I said, you know, we might eventually get ourselves in front at some point. And Calvert-Lewin thought he'd done that, but a good save denied us the 4th goal for ourselves. But it wasn't long after that we had another chance, and this time he converted it. Calvert-Lewin adds Crew's 4th, and for the first time in the game, we are in front. It was one of those crazy things where I felt like even if the next goal went in, there was still going to be another goal anyway. So as soon as I scored this one with Calvert-Lewin, I was sat there thinking to myself, this isn't it. There's going to be another goal at some stage during this game. I just hope that it comes to us, and we found our second to make it 5-3. Otherwise, the Hustler going to get it, and it's going to be back on level terms again. And I was right, because there was another goal in the game. Murillo getting through, Tarkovsky with a brilliant tackle inside our penalty area. Eventually gets cleared out, Lanzini puts it back in towards Zadas. He goes to Murillo. Murillo, oh, it's so annoying, because Zadas ended up scoring from it. Green gets a touch on this, hits the woodwork, bounces back in. But my problem is with Alexander-Arnold. He impressed me so much at that World Cup with England that we managed to win in the series, that I decided to spend the big bucks to bring him here at Crewe. But then, it's things like this that frustrate me. He was not strong enough in the tackle, and simply put, he has to be miles better than that. When you compare the impact that he's having compared to Jose Gaya, who then goes on to set up the 5th for Crewe here, Reece Nelson on hand with about 8 minutes left on the clock to score against his former club. If you compare the impact that Gaya was having to Alexander-Arnold, Alexander-Arnold had a shocking afternoon, whereas Gaya on the other side of that, defensively he wasn't great because, of course, we conceded 4. But going forward, he made a massive impact. And that's what I kind of thinking in my back of my mind. I was sat there and I just honestly didn't know what was up with Alexander-Arnold. Wasn't strong enough in the tackles in terms of his actual, play from the wide areas and being able to keep the ball and actually find his teammates. Certain times he was lacking in that front. It might just be a blip in form, but at the end of the day, when you got players in your side, just because they're a high-rated player doesn't necessarily mean they're going to start for me. And I say that all the time because I like the situation of having form and all that kind of thing to work off of. Arsenal did create another opportunity. Of course, Werner with it. But this time, Green was able to make the save. So, unbelievably, there was 9 goals in this first game of the episode today. And luckily, it went 5 to us as we win by 5 goals to 4. I want to ask you guys as well, of course, I'm sure you guys have seen the last few episodes, and of course last season, the semi-final of the Champions League against AC Milan, where there was something crazy like 15 goals over the 2 legs. Is this one the craziest game we've seen in the series, or does it have to go to one of those games against AC Milan? Because they were pretty mad as well, but this one was mind-boggling. I've seen better defending from League 2 clubs and below, so we're definitely going to need to try and defend better in these upcoming games. But as I said, we move from that point into the next one, the Champions League. This one coming against Zenit St. Petersburg. So we still have to play Zenit, we've still got to play Lyon, and we still have to play Bayern Munich. Those are the 3 games left in our group stage. And as it stands, 3 draws from our first 3 puts us in 3rd place. Lyon are on 5, Bayern on 8, we are on 3, and Zenit find themselves bottom on a single point. So a victory here, and depending on the result over between Bayern Munich and Lyon, if we win this, we could leapfrog Lyon as long as they lose to Bayern. So I think from right now, although we are the Champions League holders, our main aim is just trying to get out of the group in 2nd place. I'm pretty sure we're not going to get first. I do think that Bayern will beat Lyon, and then it all just comes down to us trying to beat the rest of the teams around us. I'm not sure we're going to beat them when we play them again. We faced them in the 6th group stage game of this one, so that'll be coming later. But it doesn't help the cause when inside 18 minutes, at home in this one, may I add, Zenit take the lead. And again, defensively, shocking. From the corner that was whipped in, we had 2 players jumping up for the same ball, and none of them won it. It fell to Kroenbeder, and he smashed it home to make it 1-0 inside 18 minutes. So at this point, I threw caution to the wind. I decided I was going to go on ultra-attacking, and I think I actually switched the formation as well to a 4-1-2-1-2 at some point during this one. But we got an instant reply, and it seems like a recurring theme in today's episode. As soon as we go a goal to 0 down, we then start to play and find that goal that we're requiring. But the frustrating thing is having it when we are going to goal to 0 down. Why do we have to wait for that goal to come in before we start playing the same way I know we are capable of? This Crewe side last season was unreal. We've added to the side. We haven't lost players in terms of anything major. We've added players. So I'm struggling to understand why we are struggling in certain areas, especially going forward sometimes when we should be actually able to score goals. But we had a massive chance. 7 or so minutes before the half-time whistle, Florian Haas from a short corner, free header, and could only send it over the top of the crossbar. And as we go into the second half, in what seems to be right now typical Crewe fashion, we allowed them to have an opportunity, and they took it with both hands. A sensational strike, but at this point, you could feel the silence fill the stadium. Crewe fans weren't sure what was going on. The players weren't sure what was going on, because the Champions League winners, as it stood at 2-1 down, risked not getting out of the Champions League group on their defense of the trophy. So, yeah, a massive, massive tense atmosphere at this point. Not a lot happening for Crew either because they gave away only 2 chances and allowed them both to go in. But Donis, with 11 minutes left, got them back on level terms. Crew 2, Zenit 2, a lovely move. He finished it off well, and this is the point where I decided, screw it, I'm going all-out attack. So I threw it onto it. I thought to myself, I'd much rather try and end up getting this win rather than just getting the point, because depending on, as I said, the result with Bayern Munich and Lyon, we won't know how that one ends. So if we have to rely on it, then I like to rely on it with a win as well. But after I did that, nothing happened. Zenit were pretty happy to sit back and just enjoy their point, even though they're still bottom of the league with this at 2 points. But I think realistically, they weren't thinking about, trying to get out. They were just here to try and make themselves have a little bit of pride and whatever. And as I said, in terms of match facts, we actually were the better side. But the problem was that I actually struggled to really get anything going. And I do believe in that game, actually, that Trent Alexander-Arnold was the man to pick up man of the match. So maybe I'm being a bit harsh on the fullback. But still, his first game performance against Arsenal didn't do a lot comparing that to Jose Gaya. So after that, we had a game back in the Premier League, West Bromwich Albion at home. And with the form that the Crew are currently in, of course, they gave away a goal. Claudio Jakob inside the 32nd minute. And it happens that that was the only goal of the game. So a 1-0 defeat back in the Premier League against West Brom at home. Not good enough. We then had some England games, European qualifiers. Obviously, being England manager, we want to win everything with them. That was one of the aims of the Road to Glory series this time around, being England manager, trying to win as much as we can. And luckily, even though Rashford missed a penalty, Brereton would score the only goal of that game inside the 82nd minute. So we do get 3 points there as well. The second and the final one of this spell of European Championship games came against Romania. Rashford this time converts the penalty that he gets inside the 8th minute. We grab a second through Tammy Abraham. Luckily, we did that because they actually got one back, did Romania. But we did hold on to the 2-1 victory. Quite a few sim games, I guess you could say. This is the 4th one now, but this is the final one as well. This time, Southampton back with Crew after that 1-0 defeat to West Brom. We need to bounce back in the right way. El Ghazi's only goal of the game gave us the 3 points in this one. A very, very good result indeed. Considering the fact that I struggle sometimes when I'm away from home, I'm glad to see that we actually got the victory there. So now we move into the 5th game of our group stage here. And I can confirm Lyon did lose to Bayern. So as it stands, with that point that we picked up against Zenit, we are within a point of Lyon. But Bayern are way out in front, as I said. So we're not going to get top of the group. Right now we're fighting for 2nd place. We're fighting alongside Lyon, who are our opponents today. And I guess anything less than a victory makes it out of our hands for the group stage itself. So we need to win. Definitely need to win this one. And also, my mistake. I said earlier on in the other game when we played against Zenit that Bayern were actually on 8. They weren't. They were on 5 with Lyon. And the victory against Lyon put them onto 8 now. So that's the way it was. So yeah, a point separates us and Lyon. And like it has been for the large parts of the episode today, didn't start off well. Yet again, conceding in the first 20 minutes of the game. And I was frustrated with this because, again, Alexander-Arnold, not strong enough in his challenge, doesn't win the ball out on the right-hand side. They cross it in, and Traore gave them the lead. But again, we would hit back as we got on the ball. Calvert-Lewin was able to find the finish 10 minutes later. Lyon won, Crew won, but a draw is not enough, so we do need to try and find a second goal. And I was on ultra-attack at this point, and I left it on that. I just decided my defending wasn't good enough, so therefore there's no point me trying to switch it back to standard or whatever, or have it on defensive, because the way I'm playing, it's not going to work out. And 6 minutes later, Calvert-Lewin hit the woodwork. At that point, I just felt like giving up, kind of. I was sat there saying to myself, I just can't get the luck that we require at the moment. But as we move into the second half, the man, I would say, who's arguably had the best performance of the episode today, Jose Gaya, is the man that puts us in front here in France. 2-1 now. And for the first time in the episode in the Champions League, we were in front. And it couldn't come at a more important time. A great finish. This is what I'm talking about. You can rely on Jose Gaya. He's that sort of player. And we move on. Again, we had most of the play in this one like we did against Zenit. And we were very, very nearly able to find the third. Grujić's effort off the woodwork for the second time in the game. Just couldn't find that luck, as I said, trying to hit it. And then Nelson gets in. And I don't know how on earth he didn't score. Ryan came out, made a good save, but I was more frustrated with Reiss Nelson than anything else. He's got to score that for me. Alexander-Arnold then, with 13 minutes left, set up the third of the afternoon for Fratchak to smash home from close range. all his goals today for Achiak have been tap-ins that we've been able to, I guess, create. So, yeah, kind of funny from that aspect of it. I'm singing his praises, but yeah, they're all tap-ins. And I've got to say as well, Alexander-Arnold, well done for him on that particular occasion. It's not really the attacking threat that I was really that bothered about with my fullbacks. It's more defensively, because then as soon as he does something good, he gets out-jumped by Philip at the back post for Leon to get one back. So, last 5 minutes of the game, a little bit nervous for us now as they did get back. But after that, I kept hold of the ball, was not interested in losing it, and decided that this 3-2 win was better than me making a mistake. Very nearly had the fourth as well. Evans' effort off the top of the crossbar, and that does that. The referee brought it to a close, and we did pick up a much-needed victory. So, with that goal there, and with that finish, the 3 points on our group stage, a draw now against Bayern Munich in the last group stage game would be enough to send us through in second place, because our head-to-head record against Zenit and Lyon are both okay. So, as I said, you can see there, we're on 7, Lyon are on 5, so a draw is enough. I've got a feeling they might draw their final game against Zenit, but we'll see how it plays in the next episode. We've been able to draw 4 games of our 5 so far, so there's no reason why we can't get a 5th draw against Bayern Munich. I'm not sure if we have to go over to the Allianz to play them, or if they're coming to our ground. I can't remember who had the home leg first, when obviously Fratchak scored to make it 1-1 in that one in the 90th minute. But that could be a massive win to our Champions League hopes going forward. If you enjoyed today's episode, guys, I'd like it, greatly appreciate it. As always, thank you so much for all of your support on the channel. I really appreciate it. I'll be back again, hopefully tonight, with a second video. If you are new around here and like what you see, the subscribe button is down below. I'll catch you all again very, very soon. Adios.